That is pretty beautiful.
Yes, it is.
I'm gonna give it that. Today, Portland, you get 5 stars.
Beautiful shot.
Out of 6. But hello everyone, this is Digital Trends Live. This is our daily live show here where we bring you all the latest tech headlines, talking about some different interviews. We've got some updates on all kinds of things, and like I said, broadcasting live on Periscope, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, which means we can take your comments and questions. And before I even give you the rundown of what we're going to talk about today, I wanted to ask you this question. We're going to circle back around to this here in just a minute, but what is the worst gift you've ever given or received? Specifically, we're going to be talking about our holiday gift guide, but what is the worst one you've ever done? PG related, that you can think of. Drop those into the comments there, and we'll get to those here in just a second. But also on today's show, we're going to have Drew Prindle, our emerging tech editor, who's going to hop on to talk about a project called FiveDeeps. Now, FiveDeeps is FiveDeeps. Say that 5 times fast. Is an ambitious project where it's 2 guys who want to visit the bottom of the ocean for all 5 oceans. Bonus if you can name all 5 oceans. So we've got Drew hopping on to talk about that. We've got Christian DeLooper live from Hawaii, where he's going to be talking about the Qualcomm Snapdragon event, which is basically all that 5G news we've been hearing about. He's got the updates on all of it. And then we're going to have Liz Dunn, the CEO of Proforma, to talk about consumer technology buying trends, all on today's episode. But here in studio right now in Portland, I'm Greg Nibbler, and joining me is Mr. Dan Gall. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Greg.
How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Awesome.
So we wanted to talk about this at the beginning because if you haven't checked out our holiday gift guide, we did a whole segment on it last week. I think it was last week. I get my days screwed up at this point, but I believe last week we talked about this, where we
together.
Yeah, I know they all run together, especially leading up to CES. It's just like it's all a blur. But we talked about our holiday gift guide, which we're really proud of here at Digital Trends. We kind of outlined a bunch of different segments, anything that you can think of. We've got guides on some good deals, different tech, and we did it all with this really, really unique artistic display that we've got at the site, and it's using miniatures where we've taken the products and then incorporated little miniatures into the products to where the products are like the sets. It's really, really cool. You can check that all out at digitaltrends.com.
It was done by a company called The Drum that we worked with. It's award-winning miniature micro figure company. And it looks amazing. They do stuff for like movies and commercials and things like that. But I love it. It's actually pretty interesting. I love there's one with a projector and some headphones, and it's like a concert.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Using like Echo devices has like the giant
big
stands
speakers.
and
Yeah.
Taking a look here with our question that we had, what's the worst gift you've ever given or received? We have Brad who just said Brute Cologne. Brute Cologne. Yeah, cologne is
by Fabergé.
By Fabergé. That's a tough one to give somebody. Anything like that, where it's cologne or some kind of perfume. Okay, cologne is a theme here. Keelan also says Michael Jordan cologne. I didn't know Michael Jordan had cologne.
Smells like steak.
Steak and sweat. Yeah. There you go. And cigars, probably. So yeah, cologne, a bad gift. I know you had a couple in particular.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up.
So the worst one I've given was my wife had asked for like a universal remote with big buttons, which was like very generic. This is a long time ago. I don't know, like 15 years ago.
When remotes were a big thing.
Yeah, and I went to Staples the night before Christmas because I procrastinated, and I couldn't find anything that really fit. But I got like a $20 universal remote with as big as buttons as I could find. And I was like, this is really lame. Like, it's $20. Like, it's not. I felt guilty. It wasn't enough. So I was like, what else can I get? And I'm looking around, and there's like an Elf, the Elf on DVD back then. And that's all there was DVDs back then. And I bought that. Like, okay, an Elf movie and a universal remote. It's a theme thing. And turns out she wasn't very happy. She was so pissed that she wouldn't.
Here's a remote.
Yeah, but neither of us had seen the Elf at the time either. So I wanted to watch it. She wouldn't watch it with me. And then I ended up loving that movie. I watched it by myself, and I thought it was hilarious. I'd watch it like every year after that. And then one year, a couple years later.
She wouldn't watch it?
She wouldn't watch it. It's like out of spite. She was just like, I can't believe you got me like this lame remote in a movie for Christmas. And so this one year I got a present from her, and I opened it up, and it was a box set for He-Man. the cartoon, and
Right.
and that was like my least favorite cartoon growing up as a kid. Like, I absolutely hated it, and I was like, like it was a total
oh,
sad.
cool.
Yeah, payback.
But did you do the thing where you have to pretend where you liked it?
I kind of did, but I was like, oh, what's this? And then I told her, like, I can't, like, she's like, good, I love He-Man. Yeah.
I was trying to think about the worst ones that I've given or received. The one I did remember, and I think my mom is probably watching this right now. It happened when I was a kid. My dad got my mom an exercise bike, and she didn't ask for an exercise bike. I don't think there was some confusion somewhere along the line, but I will have it forever in my memory of her opening that up and just, what's this? And my dad's shocked face of not understanding that, oh, that's not what you wanted.
Yeah.
Oops. And going through that. So that one will stick in my mind forever. But we have the holiday gift guide where you can pick out good gifts. They're all right there, all under our gift guide. And there's some really, really great deals that are on there. It looks like some more cologne ideas are in there too. Vicky says, I got my grandpa a bottle of cologne shaped like a golf club. That's kind of cool.
That is, and she was 12. That's a pretty amazing gift for your grandpa.
For a 12-year-old, yeah, I think that's knocking it out of the park. Although then, what do you do with it after that? I don't know.
I mean, you save it forever, so
Yes,
your granddaughter can see it as like on your countertop.
Yep, and then it just sits there and you never use it.
Yeah. My mom got me one year a Bob Marley VHS tape. This was way back when you couldn't even find a VHS player anymore. And
so it's already to the DVD era.
Yeah, I think it was Blu-ray
VHS.
by then for sure. And I told her, I was like, oh, thank you so much. And, I love Bob Marley, but I don't have any way of playing this. She says, oh, well, her husband Tony, will love it, so he can have it. I was like, okay, great. And then the next year she re-gifted it back to me again. She forgot that she had tried giving it to me the year before.
I was gonna say, was it out of spite or was it just she forgot?
No, I think she just forgot. She was like, oh, Danny loves Bob Marley.
There you go. One other thing here I'm seeing, and then we're going to get onto our Read 'em and Weep segment and talk about some headlines. We have some actually fun things to talk about. But I saw Edward never reward bad gifters with present face. I think he's talking about that. Oh, great. So Edward's just, he's hardcore about it.
I want to know how Edward would respond.
Yeah.
It depends on who's giving it to you, right?
You just turn around and push it back. Yeah, I guess so. Well, there's all kinds of different ways you can handle those situations. So, again, take a look. You can go to digitaltrends.com and follow our holiday gift guide. Keep dropping those comments in there, and we'll get to those too.
I just want to say, there's one thing in the holiday gift guide that I love. I actually have one of these, and I want to actually get a second.
Which one?
It is the ThermoPro wireless meat thermometer.
ThermoPro wireless meat thermometer.
I use
Does
it
it actually
in
hook
my
up
smoker.
like Bluetooth or?
It connects. It's I don't know if they're using Bluetooth or not. It basically you have two pieces. One that's a thermometer that plugs into like its own display, and you can set like what temperature meat, poultry, chicken, or set a custom temperature and all this stuff. And then it has a handheld, receiver that also displays the temperature, and it'll notify you when it gets within like 5 degrees. So it'll start beeping and flashing green as if it's done. And so I just use it for
set
smoking.
And kind of forget it and just let it go. And
yeah, so like if you smoke a brisket for like 10 hours and you're like, oh, I need to know when it gets to this temperature, or like halfway through or whatever, you can bring it inside and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to go outside and check it constantly.
Yeah, that is a great holiday gift for people out there looking for holiday gifts. And actually, it's really cheap too. That's like $36 for that.
I've given them as presents too.
I would expect that to be more. So that's all on the holiday gift guide. There's so many good things that are on there. Oh yeah, MasterChef cooking techniques. Those MasterChef classes that you can take. Those are on there on sale. We've got anything you can think of. Go through there. It is a nice way if you're worrying about whether or not you're going to give a bad gift. Don't worry. Just go to the holiday gift guide because they're all good gifts.
There is a section for parents and grandparents.
Perfect.
Yeah, like the tile. It's perfect for when you're losing your memory.
Here's a VHS tape of Bob Marley.
Put tile on it.
All right, let's go to some more comments here. We've got our Read 'em and Weep segment that we do every day here with Digital Trends Live, where we take a look at some of the comments that have come through across the Digital Trends platforms. And I don't take a look at these beforehand. Jake actually curates these, and let's see what we have. So Daniel Noonan just said regarding Israeli startup believes it mastered the art of vegan 3D printed steaks. Speaking of cooking, the replicator was the best part of Star Trek: The Next Generation. That is true. The holodeck actually was probably
The holodeck would, I mean, but that's pretty much what virtual reality
Yeah,
is
we're almost
now.
there.
Right, yeah.
We've almost got the holodeck. So we do need the replicator, although I've read this article about the 3D printed vegan steaks. It's still not there for me.
They look like gummy steaks.
They do.
They're like glowing.
I don't think I'm there yet. I mean, maybe they taste really good, but the appearance is a little bit of the factor for me. I don't think
And the texture looked a little
it looks like
gelatinous.
it looks like a tire.
Gelatinous.
So I think they're getting there. Maybe we're getting there, but there we go. Thank you, Daniel. Let's take a look at our next comment that we have coming through here as you're dropping your comments in live. James Dix regarding the LG C8 OLED TV review. To the idiots that are crying about burn-in, move on. These TVs weren't made for you. That's been a frequent comment anytime we bring up televisions is about burn-in. And I will say it takes a lot, and this is talking to Caleb and Ryan here at Digital Trends, our experts on this. It takes a lot for it to burn in.
Especially on an OLED.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the really cool thing about OLED is on blacks, the pixels are off.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, if you're getting burn in on an OLED, I can't imagine, like, what you're leaving up on that.
Yeah. It's, there's a comment in here about something else. I'm going to get to that in a second. Yeah, but I mean, you would have to leave it on something for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours to even come close.
Probably
to
like
days,
months.
Yeah. So
What are you watching?
Yeah. Your television's boring. The comment that I just saw come through from Keelan: aren't all meat thermometers wireless?
No.
They're not.
No. If you have one in your oven, like mine, it plugs into the oven, and then the oven just uses it.
Take that, Keelan. Instant
Yes.
rebuttal.
And actually, you have ones you can just stick right into your meat, and it has the temperature gauge right on top of it, and you have to open up your grill every time you see it.
See?
Yeah.
There we go.
That's old school right there.
Instant
Before
rebuttal.
wireless technology.
Yeah. Go back to your VHS.
Or the internet, probably.
All right, let's go on to our next comment. We've got, moving along here with these, so from James Dix, we've got Tong Zhao, I'll guess, I'm not sure. Zhu. Regarding design visionary aims to squeeze $300,000 tiny homes into Silicon Valley backyards. That's a good price for California, actually. 625 square feet for $300K, not bad. A 500 square foot apartment in San Francisco goes for $800,000 these days. Damn.
Yeah, and you know what? These looked really amazing.
I
They were
actually
very
haven't-
modern looking.
Really?
Yeah, they were pretty cool.
So is it just people like expanding on their backyards and just selling their backyards?
Maybe they're finding an empty lot. It's
Yeah.
like the new version of camping.
Right, just throw down your home.
Some of them come with wheels. I don't know if these ones do, but I still think, gosh, $300,000 is a lot, especially if
Yeah.
you got to pay for land, right?
Yeah.
Because then, they're talking about $800,000 for a 500 square foot apartment in San Francisco, but you're not having to purchase the land on top of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And land in San Francisco is going to be a lot of money.
A lot.
Probably a lot more than $800,000 all in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get yeah. So that's not too bad a deal then. 625 square feet for $300K. I mean, I've got a backyard. I'll rent mine out for that much money. So
I think it's a great idea. I, like having a pad for your friends to hang out when they come over
Yeah.
or something. That'd be sweet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's how you get a second home. Stephen Malone, Steve Mann Central. That's nice job snagging that. Steve Mann Central. Regarding digital trends, 2020 Chevy Silverado HD boasts monstrous torque and a polarizing look. As Michael Scott would say, no, oh God, no. Not a fan of the Silverado, I take it. And I did see it. Yeah, it's an odd look. I'm not a big Silverado guy anyway, but yeah.
Is it Aztec looking?
It
Is
is.
it like the Pontiac Aztec?
I don't think it's quite that bad, but let me see this 2020 Silverado. And again, this is an article at digitaltrends.com that you can take a look at. Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad. It does,
It's not a Pontiac Aztec because
Yeah.
That's like the worst car ever made, I think.
The Pontiac Aztec.
It was so ugly. Yeah, the car is like horrendous.
So Aztec is the worst, and it's not quite Aztec bad. So
I mean, they try to make up for it, that you could like put down the tailgate and have a built-in tent come out, but
that's not gonna do it. Yeah, tent's not what I need in the back.
I would rather have that tiny home.
Okay. Well, at Steve Man Central, you nailed it. Let's go on to our next one. I'm just realizing it's 9. We've already got 9:14 here too. So we got some headlines we want to get to, but Fancy O, Digital Trends Live. Okay, this is from our Digital Trends Live event on December 3rd, which was 2 days ago. You guys do this every week. First time I've seen it. Thanks. I'll forever be on your channel. Much love from South Africa. Thank you, Fancy O. You are awesome. We appreciate those comments.
We do it every day.
Every day. Yes. So every week, yeah, every day. Every day that we've got. So we've got one last comment. Fancy O, thank you, and hello to South Africa. Maybe we'll do DT Live in South Africa at some point. Justin Omrain, I don't know what time it is there, though, right now.
It's South Africa?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Justin Omrain, the highest paid YouTuber, is currently a 7-year-old kid. I just read this story yesterday, and Justin says, if you ever tried to read the comments on most any YouTube video, you'd know their key demographic is illiterate, 7 to 11-year-olds. Yeah, yeah, that's, I've seen, except for the people commenting on our videos. You know, that's different. This is a very sophisticated crowd. But, yeah, there's a lot of interesting comments on YouTube videos out there.
Yeah, it blows my mind though. Like, obviously, his parents or somebody's helping him because he's not cutting the videos right, and doing YouTube SEO or anything like that. Yeah. But that's awesome. It's kind of like the new child actor, right? Like, what's going to happen to this kid when he's 15?
Right. I mean, if you think about that, there's been several of those things. Like, the Charlie kid. Charlie, you bit me. That kid.
Charlie.
Like, yeah, what happened to that kid? The turtle kid. Yeah, there's all kinds of them out there. I didn't think about that. But I believe he's making like 20 or 22 million a year.
Oh my gosh.
Off that channel.
Oh my, he doesn't even know what that means.
He has no clue.
Yeah.
Yep, no clue. But his parents do.
Yes, they do. We'll set up a little school fund for you.
Yeah, no problem. Your college is paid for. Don't worry about that. Yeah. We'll handle the rest of it.
I like turtles. That kid is from Portland, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Turtle kid. I like turtles.
I like turtles.
Just look at it. I will watch that too much. It just makes me laugh every time I see it.
Are you having fun today? What do you think of this carnival? I like turtles.
I like turtles. All right, let's try to rapid fire some news here since we're already running to the end of our segment. So let's go to... I'll say this, coming up in just a little bit, we're going to have Christian DeLooper on to talk about the Qualcomm 5G event. So everything that's happening with that, get your questions ready. Christian is there at the event in Hawaii, so we'll get you the up-to-the-date info for that. I did want to bring up that Waymo. We had this story a couple of weeks ago about how Waymo was launching an autonomous vehicle car service in Phoenix, the world's first commercial service of this, and that was officially started today.
Yeah.
Today, if you're in the Phoenix area and you have the Waymo One app, is what they're calling it, they're not saying how many people will be able to use it and how many cars they have out, but it has launched. You can pay for a ride. There's a look at what one of the vehicles.
Chrysler minivan. Yeah.
Chrysler minivan, and I think at some point they're going to have some other vehicles out there too that they're planning on adding in. Some Jaguar I-Pace electric SUVs will go in there. Again, they're not saying when that's all going to be happening, but right now you can get the service. It looks like Reuters went for a ride, and they said it was $7.59 for a 15-minute, 3-mile ride. So probably about the same as Uber and Lyft.
Yeah.
Comparably.
Here's a question, though. Who's brave today?
Yeah.
Right? Like, who wants to maybe even ride that for the first month?
Right.
It's kind of... You're a guinea pig, almost, I would think. I mean, obviously, they've had to do a ton of testing for it. But
at the same time, this is a little different now.
And it's a little weird.
Yeah.
Like, some people, I think, enjoy talking to their drivers, right? Or the drivers enjoy talking to the riders. And sometimes it's a little annoying. But it's kind of weird to sit in the car with not driving and nobody else in it. I don't know. That's kind of strange.
I would take it. I had a Lyft ride a couple of weeks ago where I got in and the guy instantly was like, I was like, hey, how you doing? Just the friendly thing. And he responded back like, I'm not having a good day, man. Let me ask you this. I got a pain in my back. And he went in. The entire ride was him trying to get me to help diagnose what was wrong with his back. And I'm like, 2 minutes in, I'm like, I don't know, man. You should probably go to the doctor. That doesn't sound good. He's like, it hurts so bad. It's been going on for a week. I'm like, yeah, I'm not a doctor. I don't know how to help you, but
I don't want that liability.
yeah, it was like 15 minutes of him talking about his back. So I'll take an autonomous vehicle.
You know what's would be interesting is that there's no judgment either. But
Yeah.
does that make it even weirder though?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No judgment on it. I mean, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take the autonomous vehicle. So that's out. Oh, I'm being corrected. Jaguar. Sorry, or Wire. What's the right way for the Jaguar car? Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Okay, there
Yeah.
we go. All right, we got through
I
that.
pace.
We made there's a comment for tomorrow.
Killian made a comment here. Not driving and no one else in it. You couldn't have described a more perfect ride.
Boom.
Yeah.
Waymo's marketing department. Get a hold of Keelan.
Yeah.
All right.
Got a quote for your commercial.
Dang it! I know we're out of time. There's always so much more to get to on this show. This is why we enjoy doing this show, Digital Trends Live, where we have these different tech headlines to talk about. We've got different events. We've got different interviews that are coming up here in a little bit. I've got Christian DeLuper who's going to be joining on, talking about the 5G event. We have Liz Dunn from Proforma to talk about trends in consumer buying, especially this time of year. This is a big time to buy technology, as we were talking about with our holiday gift guide. And she's going to talk about some of the trends in that. Dan, thank you for hopping in here this morning.
Yeah. I'm going to get you some cologne for Christmas.
Thank you. I'm going to get you a VHS tape.
All right, thank you.
All right, we need to take a break. Drew Prindle hopping in here in a minute to talk about FiveDeeps, this new project to go to the bottom of all 5 oceans. Again, bonus points if you name all 5. And we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll hop back in here with Drew and with some more Digital Trends Live. Back here with Digital Trends Live. Thanks everybody for hopping in again. To remind you, we do read the comments and the questions that come in, so drop those in whatever platform you're watching on. We will see those and bring those in. Now, we are going to talk about something that I think is really exciting because I love this idea of exploring the ocean. And we're joined here by Drew Prindle. Hello, Drew.
How's it going?
Doing well, our emerging tech editor here. And this project is so fascinating to me because we've talked a lot about space here on this show just because SpaceX is always doing things.
Yeah.
You know, there's always so much going on. But more people have been to space than have been to where these guys are planning to go. So let's talk about this. Maybe you can give us a rundown of what FiveDeeps is.
Okay, so FiveDeeps is an expedition to the 5 deepest parts of each of the world's 5 oceans. So the weird thing about that is, first of all, only 3 people have ever been to the deepest part of the ocean, Challenger Deep, one of which is James Cameron.
Yeah.
The guy who did Avatar and Titanic and all that stuff. So, but in addition to the fact that only 3 people have been to that one point, we actually don't know with complete certainty what the deepest parts of the other 4 oceans are.
And that's what's crazy. Like, it's so unexplored.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you think about even when there was the missing plane. You know, they mapped a bunch of the ocean that had never been seen before.
Just to try and find something.
Just to try to find something. And unsuccessfully because it's so big.
So yeah, a big part of this mission is going to be mapping the ocean floor so they can first of all figure out where these super deep parts of the ocean are. And then once they figure that out, they're going to actually go down to the bottom of them and they've got all kinds of scientific equipment, they've got video equipment, and it's all tacked onto this insane submarine that's going to get them there and can withstand the pressures of the deep ocean.
Yeah, I was reading that. Like at the bottom, it's 800 times the pressure at sea level.
Yeah, yeah, and
that will crush you in a second.
Yeah, which is
Crush
nuts.
you. Yeah, that's crazy. I think about how that works, like the technology behind that, because it is like going to it is like going to space.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to figure out something for this.
Like if one thing goes wrong, you are dead in a second.
Yeah. Boom.
Like one little
Crushed.
hole in the hole. It's like that'll fill up in under a second.
I would constantly be looking at the walls, like, oh my God, is that
It's
a
like
leak?
any tick
that a
noise
leak?
or crack.
Yeah.
Oh God, man, I can't even.
I would be so paranoid. I would still do it. I would definitely go in it, but I would be paranoid the entire time. So, how? Let's walk through the actual process of this. So it's these two guys who decided they wanted to do this.
Yeah.
How are they building the equipment? Like, what equipment are they using? What tech are they using?
So the equipment is already pretty much built.
Okay.
So the submarine is essentially a titanium alloy sphere that has these acrylic lens windows built into the sides, and it's all covered up in this white shell. It's made out of this stuff called syntactic foam, which is essentially just a much better material for exploring the deep oceans because it can withstand pressure and kind of disperses it over a wide surface area, and it won't really compact. It won't bend the same way like metal will, and it also won't fracture the same way glass will. So it's just a much better material for getting way down deep under these huge pressures.
Is this a new material?
No, it's actually been around for quite some time. It's just the thing. It was I feel like early expeditions just didn't have access to this. So it's like we said, there were only a couple expeditions to the bottom of the ocean, one of which was in 1960. Like the first one to go to Challenger Deep was 1960. So, and they basically went down in a tin can. And the reason they came up was because they're like, oh crap, there's a crack in the window. Let's get out of here. And it took them 5 hours to get to the bottom and 3 hours to get back up to the top.
Yeah, because you have to go so slow.
Yeah, this one's going to be a little bit
all that
faster.
pressure. And that was, let's see, I'm looking here, Jacques Picard and Don Walsh. And
Yes.
then, James Cameron. Which James Cameron, when he came up with that project, because I know it was originally Titanic, but then he just kept
He just
loving
got
it.
super hooked on submarines.
But they developed a lot of original tech for that.
He did a lot of groundwork for deep ocean exploration, which is kind of crazy that he's just like a filmmaker, eccentric billionaire guy. Like, let's.
I mean, if you had the money, just be like, yeah, sure, let's go to the bottom of the ocean.
There are worse things to spend your money on.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so in addition to that really crazy design that is going to allow it to just go down comfortably and it not be like a sketchy mission, it's also they had the benefit of learning from those past missions. Like, this is what the bottom of the ocean's like, here's what you're going to need. So it has LED lights because obviously there's not a lot of light reaching the bottom of the ocean. It has low light cameras. There's also a bunch of other little vessels that are going to be accompanying this thing.
Oh, that'll go down at the same time?
Yeah, and those are for scientific, basically data collection.
Gather
So
samples.
they've got pressure sensors, they've got conductivity testers. There's one that's going to take core samples of the bottom of the ocean so that we can kind of tell what was down there.
Yeah.
And let's see what else. They also have little wildlife catcher grabber things.
Oh, they're going to snag some things.
It'll basically just suck in fish or whatever they encounter without hurting it, and then they can bring it back up and keep it pressurized so it doesn't die as they
that's great.
ascend.
Yeah, keep it probably dark too for it.
So this thing is basically just built from the ground up to be the perfect ocean exploration machine, which is cool because they are going to be going. It's something over 250,000 miles of ocean.
I believe it was 236,000 miles.
Yeah, and they're going to every single
Feet,
ocean.
or excuse me, 236,000 feet, 40,000 nautical miles.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, descending more than, it's got to hold up over that, because that's the other thing that I would worry about is, you're testing this out. If there's a mistake, that's it. Like we said, crushed.
And yeah, that's the thing. It's been tested a few times, but it hasn't really been used for a prolonged period of time like that.
So there's two of them that are doing this. And again, this entire article is up at digitaltrends.com. It's a really great in-depth article asking these guys in particular some questions. And
yeah, we actually got an interview with the two guys who are going to be in the sub.
So they be in the sub at the same time?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. You got to really be comfortable with somebody if you're stuffed into that tiny thing with somebody for that many hours. And so they're going to all 5 oceans, which again is Atlantic, Arctic, Indian, Pacific, Southern Ocean. I think that's what people sometimes forget, is that Southern Ocean is its own ocean.
Yeah.
And then, so they've got all this. And so what are they expecting to find? You said they're going to be taking some samples.
I think that's the
What other
thing.
kinds
Like
of things are they
they
testing?
don't really
They just don't know. Because it's that exploration side of it.
Yeah, so I mean, they kind of know that there's going to be like some deep sea life.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that one of those first expeditions discovered is like, holy crap, there's like fish and crustaceans, which scientists didn't actually believe. There's no way that life could withstand pressure so high and like no light. And turns out that there's actually a ton of life on the bottom of the ocean. So they know they're probably going to find some of that.
Yeah.
They know they're going to be down there for taking core samples, but beyond that, they don't really know what to expect.
Well, I just thought of a question I want to drop into the chat while we're talking about this. So, would you rather ride Elon Musk's ship that's going to go around the moon, the one that he's going to be sending up, I think, in a year or two, or would you rather go to the bottom of the ocean? Which one? If you could do one or the other, around the moon or bottom of the ocean. Way fewer people have been to the bottom of the ocean. There's only,
man.
I mean, even if these two go, that's 5 people. So you would be one of the sixth person.
I think I'd still go with around the moon.
Around the moon?
Just because, like, bottom of the ocean, it's not going to be the most, like, visually crazy experience. Like, I feel like the cameras that are on the vessel are going to be able to see stuff better than you can. So you're just going to be, like, looking at a tiny little porthole going like that.
Well, there it is. Yeah, yeah, but that's kind of what
Real
you're
dark.
doing, though. Oh, yeah, that's true.
But if you're going around the moon, you get to see, like, the Earth.
Yeah.
As you're, like, going away, you get to see the dark side of the moon. You get to come back.
But what if you discover something down there? Like, you're the first person to ever, like, you think about that, you're
That's
the
pretty
first
cool.
person to ever see that.
And then you get to name it after yourself,
Yes.
which is what scientists do all the time.
Right, yeah. Rifidus gregus in the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, I mean, so I think, man, it's a hard choice, but if you had to decide, I'm already seeing people, Gene on YouTube said moon. Let's see, Keelan says moon, easy. I don't know, I might, I think I might go to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah?
Yeah, just because I would, then I'd be, the sixth person to the bottom of the ocean.
It also, it's a much more,
It's an exclusive
it's a smaller club. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I can hold that. Oh, you went to the moon. Oh, that's neat. So yeah, I think I might go to the bottom of the ocean.
I mean, do you have to choose between one?
You
Just
have
do
to
both.
choose.
All right.
Well, this is clearly why one of us needs to become an eccentric billionaire, so we can do both. Vicky says, and you'll be the first one killed by the thing in the ocean.
The thing.
The thing at the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, but see, then they can, write stories about it. I don't know. Let's go. All right, so again, this article's up there at Digital Trends right now. FiveDeeps talking about this project. Anything else that people should know about this? Like, how are they going to be doing video, and
Yeah,
can
so-
you keep track of it?
Check out their website, which you can find through our article on Digital Trends.
Yep.
We've linked to it. We've got a bunch of awesome pictures on there as well. But yeah, I believe they're going to be capturing a ton of video. This whole expedition is just to get as much data as possible, and a lot of that is visual data. And they're going to be recording the whole thing. I'm sure there's going to be documentaries coming out in the next several years. They've got stuff that they put up on YouTube. This is like a pretty big undertaking, and they know that people want to watch, so they're definitely shooting videos and photos like crazy.
Wow. Well, check out that article. It's really, really great. Digitaltrends.com, and take a look at Drew's article and everything else that Drew is doing. How can people follow you, Drew?
Check me out on Twitter. Gonzo Torpedo is my name.
I really wanted to hear you say it.
I pretty much post everything on there. That's the best place to find me. Or just check me out on Digital Trends.
Yeah, there it is. So thanks, everybody, for tuning into Digital Trends Live. This is what we love doing this show. We have all these different interesting interviews and things to talk about, and we're going to take a quick break. Or are we going live? Okay, never mind. We're not going to take a break. I was wrong
No
about
breaks.
that. This is the magic of doing live television. I can make mistakes. So here's what we're going to be doing. We talked about this at the top of the show, about how, and Drew, thank you so much for hopping in here too. So we talked about this at the top of the show. In Hawaii, there is the Qualcomm Snapdragon event, and this is where we're finding about all the information about 5G. I think there's some phones that have been revealed. Everything's happening really fast, and to just get to the bottom of it, we've brought on Christian DeLooper, one of our writers here for Digital Trends, who is in Hawaii right now. Really rough assignment, I'm sure, to talk about what's going on at the Snapdragon event. Hi, Christian.
Hey, Greg, how you doing?
Doing great.
Good.
So this event's been going on for a couple of days now. Is that right?
Yeah, so yesterday was the first day. Yesterday we kind of focused on 5G, and now we're on day 2, which is kind of the Snapdragon day. So we'll get a new mobile chip today. And then tomorrow is always on computing.
Okay.
Which is like laptops, LTE connected laptops.
So why don't we start from the beginning of what happened yesterday? 5G is something, it's been a hot topic here just on our show, just in tech trends in general. Everybody wants to talk about 5G and when we're going to get it. What kind of information did we find out yesterday at the event?
Yeah, so not a whole lot. It's still mostly talk. There's some interesting stuff. You know, Qualcomm, the new Snapdragon 855 processor supports the X50 modem, which is 5G compatible.
Okay.
Verizon and AT&T had so-called live 5G networks here yesterday, but they were pretty limited. They had a few little devices set up, but you couldn't move them because they were connected perfectly. And it's really not set up the way that we're expecting it to be eventually.
Yeah, because 5G is supposed to be, one of the main things is so fast, extremely fast, and it's going to be the new system, and especially the way everybody's touting it is that we're going to have 5G. They make it sound like we're going to have it, next month, but that's not the case.
No, that's not the case. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of hype. It's exciting. It's going to be really cool, but it's going to be a while before we see it in the real world.
So at the event yesterday, they're showcasing those kinds of things, showcasing some of the devices, talking about 5G, or that was 2 days ago, excuse me. Yesterday. I'm getting my days mixed up. Yesterday. Now, today, I've already seen a bunch of information come out about some different devices that they were talking about, that they were showcasing. Is that right?
Yeah, so Motorola announced the Z3, I think last year, and along with it, they announced the the 5G Moto mod, which is kind of a thing that you stick to the back of the Moto Z3, and it gets 5G connectivity. So Motorola was kind of showing that off yesterday in a very limited capacity. We couldn't touch it. We could really only look at them downloading a file. And Samsung was showing off a concept device for 5G as well.
Which it's a concept device. So it's basically just a phone, and they said, "Oh yeah, it's got 5G. Just trust me."
Pretty much. That's pretty much it. Another phone we couldn't touch, only look.
And for everybody tuning into, that's kind of a common thing, I feel like, for even at CES when they have experimental technology or stuff that they claim they've been working on. They don't really want people to get their hands on it because you can expose some of the flaws, I assume.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation. We're kind of in an in-between period where, you've been talking about 5G for a long time. It's going to start rolling out next year, apparently, so we're told. So the tech is mostly there, but it's not completely there. I think they probably wanted to be able to show off a little more and probably wanted it to be a little more fleshed out, but that's the way it is.
But that's where it's at, yeah. And let's get into some more 5G too. I want to remind everybody, if you have questions and comments, you can drop those in, and we'll ask Christian these and see if we can get to the bottom of what's going on there. Just for this event, how does this lay out? Like, what kind of players are there? Because it's Qualcomm's event, is that right?
Yeah, it's Qualcomm's event. Yesterday, like I said, we had Verizon and AT&T showing off their live networks.
Yeah.
Samsung and Motorola were there as well. Those are mostly the big companies that we had yesterday. There could be more today. We're not sure yet.
No, okay. Oh, so you don't even know either. They just kind of show up.
Well, sometimes they bring out surprise.
Yeah.
Surprise. But the big ones are Verizon, AT&T, Samsung, and Motorola.
I want to get into talking about the actual processor here in a minute, but before we do that, let's maybe do a recap of 5G. Like, what is 5G supposed to be able to do for everyone? Just to kind of go through some of the highlights.
An interesting question. Like, I was talking to a Qualcomm representative yesterday, and they were like, well, when 4G was launched, we didn't have Pokemon Go, we didn't have Snapchat. LTE kind of allowed for those kinds of things. So the question is, what will 5G allow for? And we don't know because they haven't been invented yet. But we do know that they'll probably connect cars to each other. They'll probably allow for, just faster downloads, 4K streaming on your phone, that kind of thing. So we'll see is the answer.
Yeah. And there was a demonstration that we're showing right now that was downloading a gig of data. I think it was in 19 seconds on 5G, which is, incredibly fast if that does come into fruition. But yeah, I know some of the other things I was kind of reading about just with 5G. You mentioned it, the 4K streaming ability, which 5G sounds amazing. I think I think everybody can agree on that. This sounds really, really cool. When we're going to get it, though, is the big kind of question, and what it's going to take to implement that. Like, what do they need for the infrastructure to even make 5G happen?
Well, they really have to upgrade their towers. There's probably going to be products that they put into homes for like kind of home 5G. We saw Verizon launch an initial version of that last year, kind of a testing thing. So it's going to be a while. It's going to come in a few select cities probably by the end of next year, and hopefully by 2020 most major cities will have decent 5G connectivity. But yeah, like you said, it's going to be a few years before
Yeah.
we have any substantial infrastructure in place.
Even though the devices will be out there ahead of time that you can get.
Yeah,
That
that's
will be
correct.
5G
Even though we're
enabled.
still seeing devices in the real world next year.
Let's talk about the Snapdragon 855 processor. So this is the upgrade over the 845, and this is getting a little technical on it, but I mean this is what's running most of these devices is the Qualcomm processors. What's the 855, this new processor, going to do?
Yeah, so it was announced yesterday, but today is the 855 day. That's when they're going to go into details. So we don't have all the details yet. We know that it's going to be faster and more powerful. It's going to allow for 5G for manufacturers who want to include 5G. It does not include it by default. And there's a heavy focus on AI, which is cool. So features like Google Assistant, more on device processing instead of sending to the cloud and that kind of thing. But as far as specifics, we'll get those in a few hours.
The on-device processing, I think that's kind of a really cool aspect, especially as we use assistants more and more on our phones. It doesn't have to go to the cloud. So you can be right there and it'll have all of that information stored. It can process it quicker. And I was thinking about this just from a security standpoint. It seems like that would be a good addition.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the idea. I think it'll take companies like Google to implement that as well. But theoretically, with this chip, it'll make it much more easier.
So that's the Snapdragon 855 processor. And we've got some great write-ups at digitaltrends.com too, kind of going through all of these and discussing, what's happening with this and letting everyone know, what's going on out at this event. And Christian, anything else that you're looking forward to or hoping to see while you're out there?
Well, hopefully we'll see a few phones today. Probably not. The chip's just being announced today. Tomorrow is always connected PCs, which is interesting. It's Qualcomm chips in laptops, which allows for longer battery life and LTE connectivity and that kind of thing. I think most of the big exciting stuff that we're expecting was yesterday. Today, chips.
Yeah, chips. So we'll see what happens with that. Well, thank you so much for hopping on here today, to let us know. Have a good time while you're in Hawaii and keeping us up to date on everything that's happening with that. This has been great. Thanks so much, Christian.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
And again, this is one of the great things here with Digital Trends Live is that we can talk to people wherever they are, and we bring this live to you. We can take your comments, your questions, whatever you want to bring up. We can talk about it. And we're not done with the show yet. We're going to take a quick break. And by break, I mean we're going to play you a really cool tech video. So that's really what our breaks are. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to be joined by Liz Dunn, the CEO of Proforma, to talk about consumer technology trends. What are people buying? How are they buying? Why are they buying? We're going to cover all of that in our next segment with that interview coming up here in just a minute on Digital Trends Live. Back with more Digital Trends Live. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And again, we are live, so drop in your comments, your questions, whatever you want to bring up, and we will cover those. I'm Greg Nibbler, and I'm excited now to be joined by Liz Dunn, the CEO of Proforma. Hello, Liz.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks so much for hopping in here today and joining us on the show. And we're going to be talking about, I know, some buying trends in consumer electronics, which naturally is a big thing for us here at Digital Trends. And before we do that, though, I thought maybe we could walk through what you do, what Proforma is, and what your company is really all about.
Yeah, so we are analytics and sort of big data for retailers and investors. So we have kind of two audiences that we market to. But what we're trying to do is really tie together all of the data that's out there related to retailers, and kind of map the ecosystem for as it were. So
Yeah.
what we're really trying to help retailers understand the data that's impacting their performance, and help investors understand how to target retailers that may be, on an upswing.
That sounds like a monumental task to gather all that information and make
It is.
sense of it as it comes through. Well, let's since you have done this, like, what are some main things that you wanted to cover here? I know that holiday, like this time of year, especially when it comes to technology, we had Black Friday, Cyber Monday, huge days for consumer tech buying. What were the results this year, maybe compared to years past?
Yeah, so there's both the digital trends and the in-store trends.
Hmm.
Traffic is down in physical stores. It's been down for the last 6 years. It was down again for Black Friday. But what we saw for the Black Friday weekend online is that sales were up quite strongly, and that continued through Cyber Monday. There's a little bit of a shift though happening, where the sales are more spread out than they used to be, and that's because we all have a phone in our pocket and we start shopping as soon as we put down our forks. And so it's
Right.
no longer so much about Cyber Monday. It's more about all of the holiday shopping trends, because the consumer is shopping pretty immediately and kind of constantly.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm a case in point. I bought shoes right after Thanksgiving dinner. So I mean, it's because it is so easy to access that and catch on to those different deals that are happening. So you see that over that kind of over that basically whole weekend, I would imagine. Like you said, Cyber Monday isn't quite as big. It's the whole weekend of deals.
Yeah, yeah. Cyber Monday used to be about, when we all got back to our desks and started
Uh-huh.
and had time to shop. It just doesn't
Right.
work like that anymore. Who waits till they get to their desktop at work
Yeah.
to shop anymore?
No.
But and to that point, the sales for the Black Friday weekend were higher than for Cyber Monday, much higher, but both were up strongly. So you saw about a 26% increase in the Black Friday weekend and about a 20% in Cyber Monday. And sales trends over the holiday period tend to skew more towards online purchases and away from in-store purchases. It's just the ease of it. You're maybe shipping things to other people, as well as the deals are right there in your face, and you can really easily compare and contrast what deals are where.
Well, and I think let's talk about it from that angle, to the deals. Is this a good time to start buying, consumer technology? Is this a good time of year to do that? What can, like, our viewers, what should they expect around now, or any tips and tricks for them?
Yeah, I think it's a great time, and you really be looking pretty broadly at who you consider to be purchasing from. So a lot of people are bidding for the consumer dollar, and you might in normal times say, well, Amazon might have the best deal, or Best Buy, but I think that consumers should look really, really broadly. Look at the big box players, Walmart and Target, and oftentimes they might not. They might have some sort of blanket offer that you can add on to a purchase of a hot item that normally you don't get a discount for. But typically, the week right after Black Friday is where you see the biggest discounts, but you really also see a lot of discounts towards the tail end of the holiday season, when retailers get desperate. Also, because shipping trends have gone so far in the direction of fast immediacy, you can really shop until the last minute, and maybe buy online, pick up in store, whatever. And that hasn't been the case in the past. You kind of have a drop dead period where you're not going to get it if you buy online in the past. But these days, most of the big box retailers have that buy online, pick up in store, and so you can benefit from, those last minute discounts even online.
That makes sense. Looking at it from this standpoint, just as we get closer, to Christmas and kind of the end of the year, like say I want to buy a new television, if you were to kind of guess, when is the best time for pricing on that? Is it closer to the holiday? Is it after the holiday weekend? What does the trend tend to be?
So if you are not buying it for a gift, I would wait until after Christmas.
Okay.
The absolute best week was probably last week. If you are buying it for a gift, the week right before Christmas, and since we have such a long holiday season this year, it's the longest in terms of number of days that we ever see.
Right.
Because
it's over that weekend,
Thanksgiving sort of moves and Christmas is fixed. So it's the longest period, and you will see some last minute deals. But if you can wait until after the holiday season or after Christmas, then I would say buy then.
Okay, that is good news, because yes, I did miss last week, even despite I should have done it, but I didn't. Excuse me. Well, this is fantastic. Liz, thanks for hopping on here too. Where live television. Where can people follow you and everything that you're doing, and keep up to date with all of this information?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little old school in terms I tend to use LinkedIn quite a bit, and I'm also on Twitter at Elizabeth_Dunn. There's no E at the beginning of my name, so
just Elizabeth without the E.
Yeah, just Elizabeth_Dunn. But the holiday is an exciting period, and there's lots to buy this year. There's a lot of consumer electronics, a lot of the connected home items that people are very excited about. Watches are still on a trend. Not so much phones, but everything that connects to the phone and to whatever ecosystem you're running. Lots of digital assistants, and I would say that for those buying for the women in their lives, there are lots of cool home gadgets that are connected that are exciting there too.
Fantastic. Well, Liz, thank you so much for hopping on with us today. We really appreciate it. We'll have to have you back on maybe to talk about some more trends as we go through this and as things change rapidly. So Liz, thank you. Thanks for joining Digital Trends Live.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and thank you everybody for tuning in today. We are live every weekday, every day, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, bringing you the trends in technology, bringing you the headlines, talking about, at the beginning of the show, our holiday gift guide, a great place to go to check out some great deals. And if you need some suggestions for gifts, that's the place to go. So no matter what department, we've got you covered on that. We were joined by Drew Prindle to talk about the FiveDeeps project, the project to go to the bottom of every ocean in the world, which is really exciting to me. I still want to know whether you want to go to the moon or whether you want to go to the bottom of the ocean. Let us know that in the comments. We were then talking to Christian DeLooper about the Qualcomm 5G event. We've got constant updates at digitaltrends.com about that, so follow along today as more and more information comes out. Follow us on Twitter or wherever you're on social media. Digital Trends will be posting about that. And then, of course, Liz Dunn from Proforma, the CEO, to talk about that. Big thanks to Dan Gall for hopping on at the beginning of the show. And let's see, tomorrow, we have coming up on our show, we've got Caleb Dennison joining us tomorrow to talk about some home theater stories, and especially I believe he's going to be discussing different streaming boxes and kind of comparing those. We've got Felicia with the Nintendo Power Couple from our New York studio. We'll be hopping on there in an interview with Kelly Doctor from OBVS, founder and CEO. So lots tomorrow. Still more coming up this week. Every weekday, we are here, right here with you. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thanks for hopping in today, and we'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Digital Trends Live.